Hey friends, welcome to the Social Society. We are the modern-day marketing agency that has quite literally turned the branding world upside down. Over the past several years, we have been traveling the world working with trailblazers and industry innovators. But our secret is our team. We are about to give you the inside scoop into what we do and who we are. So get comfy, grab a drink of choice, and be ready for some mic drop moments.
Welcome to the Social Society podcast. I am here on location today. I am so excited. We are in Paris with Andreia, the most beautiful, amazing client and friend. And we've just been in each other's world for like over a year now. We're going to share our story about our journey together.
Special.
And okay, we have to share this. This is very important. Today is a very special day. Tell us what it is.
I turn 40 now. No, not now, but just like today. And for me, this is only possible after 40. I really feel this, like the transition from the little girl in some level to the woman, mature woman. And it's been so special to be here with my lovely mentor and her team, and has been like really special. And it's kind of like I grew up in a way to give more to the world. And it's because of that. It's like the first also day for me for the Abundance Society. And it's very special. And I want to say something because I really believe in soul.
Yes.
Connection and encounters and re-encounters. It's kind of like, and I felt that with you. I literally look for like luxury branding in Instagram.
Yes.
And I found you when I met you, like your face was kind of like, I love this woman. I feel this attraction.
Aww.
And it was kind of like, I don't even care about the price point. I don't care about anything. I just want to do work with her. So I really, like, some people would say this like karmic relationships but it's so beautiful because you bring this like special magic of life to each moment, to each relationship, and not only the love relationship. Yeah. So I feel that with you. It's kind of like we are in a soul mission together, and it's not the first time that we met.
That we meet. 100%. Yeah, I definitely feel that. And even more so now in person. Like, this is so special for me because we've been working together for like a year and a half. We've known each other, been in each other's world for a year and a half. But then there's something about being in person and like seeing you. It's like, I definitely know. I look in your eyes and I'm like, We've been here before. Yeah. We've had some sort of connection before. And then...
And you look so familiar. No, it's like the familiar thing. Yeah.
And then I just think, like you were saying before we started actually recording, we were talking about us both being Aries too.
Yeah.
And like the dynamic of how that works and how, I know you're more of the expert in this than I am, but how that can, we have paths in the way that we work with each other, and they're so passionate. Like we have such a like very, passionate, dynamic relationship with one another. I feel that
with you. And it's not the knowledge about the mentorship, right?
Yes.
It's not only about the knowledge. It's about the power and the energy. And when I feel my energy meeting with your energy, it's kind of like I feel like I have like a powerful energy. You have like a powerful energy and at the same time loving. So it's kind of like when you meet these two powerful energies, kind of like, it's like a volcano energy. Yeah. Like, oh my God, so much excitement and pleasure and power and wisdom that gets kind of like channeled by this just like interaction that I never like kind of like access by myself. It's kind of like, wow. And having that in a mentor, much more than maybe the other rational things that you maybe look in a mentor, but it's like the feeling of like, this is my mentor, this is my fucking mentor. It's like a soul connection. So it's like a soul evolution also in this path. And we had our challenge on that.
We did. And we'll get into that to a second, like our growth and our moment where we had to really face those shadows, so to speak, and move through that. But I think what you're saying, though, I want to touch on it, is really important of like how you feel about your mentor, how you choose your mentors. Like we were sharing earlier, like for me, I'm done with like, it's this $1 million person or this, 8-figure earner. Like, that's not what I look for in people because it's what they possess and the wisdom that they have in certain areas. So they may not be on paper as far along or whatever, but it's like they have something. And I think that's what we had as well, was like, it wasn't about what I had done in my business. It was like there was something there that was deeper. It was like the soul I had something that you were looking for. And then in turn, I gained so much from you.
Yeah. And you know what I was thinking? And I think this is a little bold, but I was thinking about, we were having conversation about sex before, like, but I was
Are you hitting
like,
on me?
No. No, I'm very like, I have nothing like against women that like women, but I like the other part best.
The other part.
The
Me
instruments.
Too.
Yeah, the instruments. So, but
I love us.
but it's like the what I feel is that like we were talking about that, like the sex not being only sex, but being the spiritual connection.
Yes.
And it's kind of like, because I'm not like into woman, I don't feel this sexual energy with you. But at the same time, it's a sexual, because it's kind of like, how can I explain this? It's not sexual, but it's spiritual, and it's like so elevated and so sacred. This is like really, and maybe it's not sexual, but what I'm bringing is like the transformation,
like turned on, kind of like activated, turned on.
And the transformation potentiality.
Yeah.
Is, like in the sex, you have like the surrender.
Yes.
And okay, you just like open to what happens, and something happens together with that energy is finding together.
Yes.
And that's what I find with when I find someone like you, like I feel that energy in the mentor. It's kind of like you bring your energy, and it's so special to my soul, this energy that I surrender, and some transformation that I can never control. Like when you pay for a mentor, it's like, why am I paying this? It's like, I'm being crazy for, I don't know what I will get, but what I will get is this opportunity to feel this kind of like union. Maybe that's like not sex thing, but the union energy with other souls. No,
I'm thinking sex, because what's interesting is what we went through. We had to surrender before the orgasm. Before you have an orgasm, it's like you have to like let go of that control of like what you want it to be, or anticipation or expectations or whatever's in your mind. And I feel like in a sense, we kind of went through that together, because there was a point where we had to be like, we don't understand what's going on right now, but we're going to let this just like that surrendering. And then on the other side has been pleasure, like a deeper relationship with one another, like that. Yeah. That heightened experience.
Yeah. Because you brought a lot of love to that challenge moment. It's kind of like, that's like very similar to sex. I think that's the fiery areas energy. It's kind of like, everything can go on sexual or.
Exactly.
But that's like that. This is so powerful for even like business owners, like the selling part and the selling part, the marketing part, because this energy is the energy of aliveness.
Yes.
So you create everything from there, like any manifestation you create it from this aliveness and if you have a mentor that you feel that with that person, it can be scary, because it's kind of like, what will happen next?
Yes.
Yeah, because it's like imprevisibility. I don't know if you have that word here, but
like improvisation, like
it's like you cannot control. It's like it's open, but the potential for creation and high energy and transformation is not just like the word transformation. It's like feeling the transformation. It's like this transpersonal, elevated, like the human gets here, but you get transpersonal. You go behind the personal, and you create something that is hard to explain, but is like a high level energy where you become another person. And I feel that with you each time that we meet, and we're doing now like a rebranding immersion in Paris. But the first time I was like in Santorini, and we did one online, and was like so fucking amazing, because with you I feel this like my soul just is at home. My soul is at home.
That's the biggest compliment ever. I think it's important. Let's share like let's talk about our journey. So we started out, you found me on Instagram, which is great, like to understand too that people do find you, and it was energy too. It was like you wanted a specific thing, but it was that feeling that you get. And then I remember you reaching out to me, and you did the like brand reading. It was like the channeled brand reading. And I remember channeling for you and your little girl, who I now got to meet in person. And like, literally, I think I've known her before too. She's unbelievable. Like in a past life, but she's so sweet. But I remember channeling, and like, I'm like, remember we were talking about how you guys were creating this like family business, and like she's carrying this on, and like I felt so much depth, and like specifically with you as like the female line, right? Like you as the mom with your daughter, and like just changing generational things for women, but also men. And then what happened after that? So we did the reading, and then Do you remember what was next?
Yes, I decided to do I was like, what's next? Like, I want more. I think I was like asking you, like, sell me what you have.
Yes, I remember that. You're like, what is it? What's next?
Yeah, what's next? And you say like we could do like a 2-day like brand immersion.
Yes.
And I totally felt that. So we did that, and it was so amazing to understand with your help and with your elevated luxury branding that is not only luxury that it's like look nice but doesn't feel nice. No, you are like the complete, like the fulfillment is kind of like, whoa. So I felt like my brand, and I felt this now again, it's kind of like you're watching my brand from a lens that are so high, like advanced. You know, it's kind of like you're watching me now, but you're watching me like 10 years from now. So it's kind of like you bring that vision to now, and it's kind of like accelerated a lot, like my growing into my highest potential as a brand and as a person and as like a human being and my soul evolution. So I felt that in the first day. Of course, now it's been different. And then I just decided I want to be with you all year.
Yes.
The full year. And it's like all these like impulsive decisions. That's very Aries. It's kind of like,
yes,
I love that. And I'm here. I don't care about the money. I don't care about anything. And that was like, we'll start in January, right?
Yes. Yep.
And usually like my birthday.
22, right? Wasn't it 2022?
Yeah.
21?
No, 22.
Yeah, because we did the branding at the end of November 2021.
Yeah.
So 2022.
Yeah, 2022. And then like I'm Aries, like my birthday is on April. And usually March, I know this is like my, how you call it? Where is God is heaven, and the other place is what?
Hell?
Hell. Yeah, it's hell. Is my astral hell is in March.
Okay.
And it was in March that my mind started to be a little twisted. And I start having these thoughts. I don't need her. Maybe this is not a good idea to be a full year with her. Maybe, and then I was like, kind of like having a very hard time with my mom. She was taking care of my daughter. I decided that she was not respecting me in the times. So I decided to end the professional relationship with my mom. And it was so hard because my mom was telling me like, it's your fault, you're guilty, and you don't know what you want. And it's just, she was being not very good mom and loving. She was like putting all the blame on me. And I was kind of like, I created this anger against the world. It's kind of like nobody loves me and everyone is against me. And she's also against me. So I start kind of like feeding that idea. She's against me. She doesn't care about me. It's kind of like projecting.
We hope you are enjoying this episode. Hey, I have a question for you. Is your brand feeling like it no longer matches who you are or what your business looks like now? Trust me, we get this all the time. Clients come to us because they have simply outgrown their current branding. Send us a DM on Instagram and find out about our unique Brand in a Day offer where we will create an entire brand in 6 hours. Yes, you heard that right. No more emailing back and forth and waiting 8 to 10 weeks for your brand to be complete. You will spend the day with us virtually as Haylee refines your messaging and brand strategy while our designer Jade builds your logo, fonts, colors, and even your soul symbol in real time. It is truly an experience of a lifetime.
I'm a mentor for more than, I'm a healer for more than 20 years. So I'm studying like shadow things like for more than 10 years now. And for me, it was kind of like scary because I was in a total shadow, but I couldn't see it.
Yes.
Because the pain of what I was feeling with my mom was so strong. And was the time that I discovered that I lost more than 150,000 euros in like a scam and a fraud thing. So it's like, and I had like someone told the nursing order in Portugal that I was speaking things that I shouldn't speak in the internet, and they brought the police. Like, so I was accused of a crime.
I remember all this. It was
I received like a notification, like appear in the police station in 10 days. And I was like, what the fuck did I did? And they wrote there, he did a crime, but they didn't explain what was. So this is all anxious things. And in the end, it was like nursing order couldn't do anything to me. But it was like all the these things was like so hard that I really felt the world against me. And I wasn't able to, because usually I am able to, I'm in a shadow. So just take care of your shadow and show up to people not in your shadow. But with you was kind of like, you're like my mom. It's like, I could only see my mom. I look at Haylee, was like, and in the end I realized I was not even seeing my mom. I was even seeing myself. Because we're so the same, you know? So I was kind of like, I'm so mad with myself with this lack of self-love that I didn't learn how to love myself because my mother was blaming me about everything all the time. So I always felt guilty. So it's kind of like all these layers of shadow, you know, like shadow. So in the end, I realized I was like kind of like hating yourself, that it was like hating myself.
Yes.
Not was hating yourself. Yes. Because then you show up. I don't know if you want to say, but you show up in a way that was so loving. So between this shadow, I was like, okay, but I need to give my face. So we talk. So I didn't want to talk at all, but I was like, no, I will never ghost anyone. So I'll go. And I remember that conversation and you brought someone from the team. And I was kind of like, but it was so beautiful because in that me sharing all the vulnerability, you had the place to listen to me. And at the same time, stand for your position.
Yes.
And I found that so healing for me too. Was kind of like, I couldn't say, okay, I agree with you. I'll keep a relationship with you. But I could say like, oh my God, you're so amazing. And I'm so sorry I'm doing this, but I need to go away. I need to be distanced from this relationship. But at the same time, I really see the love that you're sharing with me. And that is still in my heart until now. In that moment that you show that love. And at the same time, you stand for your values and it's like, okay, you cannot go. It's like, you have a contract and.
Yeah. So I remember that. It was like, and it seemed like from my perspective, it almost seemed like not like a sudden shift. You know what I mean? It was like, I knew you were going through some things and you were having a hard time in your life, business, mother, all those things. And then it was like, all of a sudden, like, I think I need out of this contract. I can't do this anymore. And, you know, and I was like, oh, what's happening? And of course, then my triggers, right? Because we're human. I'm like, I'm like, I did something wrong. Like, what happened? You know? And so I went there for a little bit. And I think it's important that we acknowledge that we are human, right? Like, it's not like I knew immediately what to do, but it was just that, because, you know, when you care a lot about your clients and like, they are more than just somebody that's paying you money. It's like, oh, we were so close. So there was that moment where I had to go through like the pain. And then I was like, you know what? I felt this really deep sense that it was not it would have been doing you a disservice to have not held you to your word. And I felt it so deeply. And there's been other clients that have backed out of contracts where I didn't feel that. I was like, you know what? That's fine. Like, it's not worth the trouble, or like the contract was over, like energetically, you know? Yeah. But with this, I was like, I've been her before. I've been the client who wanted out of the contract. And I had a mentor. We didn't have the same depth of a relationship, but who was like, you know what? No, like, you're going to pay this. And I remember paying it and being resentful a little bit, like, fine. I wasn't getting what I wanted and I paid anyway. But at the end, I was proud of myself. Like, I felt like, okay, I held my word. I did what was right. And so I remember entering that conversation with you. And I remember saying, like, this isn't about the money. This isn't about the contract. This is about, if you don't stand behind your word, what is business for women? Yeah, right? I remember that being like, I was like, this is a business. Yeah. You have a business. This is legitimate. This isn't a hobby. Like, this is true. And if we just go, I don't feel like it anymore. Yeah. What is that?
No commitment.
Right. And so I remember saying no. And I remember you saying, okay, well then I'll have to decide what to do. Right. And we just had this moment, but it was, even in that conversation, it was beautiful. There was still a lot of heart. I could feel that you were not angry. You were just, this is where I'm at. And then this is where I'm at. Yeah. And there was a lot of love even in that moment. And I remember we hung up the call or Zoom and we got off.
And you say like, okay, let's give some space and we'll think each one. Because it was there. It was so beautiful to have the space. You have the space for yourself and I have the space to myself. Yeah. And that's like something that my soul is learning in this life. Yes. Because, you know, when you have like, and I spoke about this before, like when you have like a narcissistic parent, that then I discovered my mom is a little, because she had also like, I love my mom, but you know. Yes. But it's kind of like you don't have like a place in the relationship. So I was so used to not have a place in the relationship. So the only way I can kind of like save myself is like to remove myself from the relationship. Yes. And I'm learning like, no, I have a place to share my truth. And the other has to have a place to share their truth. And is again a transpersonal moment because you need to surrender.
Yes.
So what will happen next?
And that level, that was the surrender piece. You know, when you can surrender to like, you trusted me enough to go there. I trusted me enough to hold the stance. And then, so the what happened after that was really magical. So she and I continued, like, you wanted me to do some readings for your clients. Yes. Remember that? And you were like, and I remember the email you were, emailed Hannah and you were like, I'm assuming Haylee's not going to keep her part of the deal because, and I was like, no, we are.
No, I was asking. I was like, is she okay to do it?
Yeah, yes.
I was like, of course. And I was like, oh, that will be interesting.
So we get on these calls and most of the clients you speak Portuguese and I don't even speak their language. And we do these readings for them. Yeah. And long story short, at the end of it, you were like, you sent me this beautiful email and you were like, I see your heart. I see where my shadows were. And I see all of this. And we ended up kindling it back to where here we are in Paris.
Yeah. Like, because I was like, can we go back together? It's kind of like when you have a relationship and you're like, I want a break. And then you realize this break was because I was full of wounds. I couldn't handle all these wounds. I couldn't be in a relationship. I'm so sorry I couldn't be in that relationship right in that moment. It was kind of like, I don't want to end this relationship like that because it's so special. And so we started anew.
We were like,
and I was like, okay, can I go back to the old contract? And you say it's better to start with a new energy. Let's make a new contract. And we did. And it was like the most beautiful moments, right? Because I felt like I went back. It was kind of like, okay, I was reborn. So I didn't keep myself in the shadow. I was humble enough to be kind of like asking for forgiveness and to like, I understand myself. I understand yourself. Can we be back?
Yes.
And I was even fearing the rejection. I thought you were being that kind of mentor, like, oh, you did that to me once and I will never trust you again or something like that.
Yeah.
And you were like, oh, let me feel this. And that's so beautiful that we can be open to feel. And then you came back and say like, yeah, I feel like I would love to work with you again. Well, that was so also like loving. Yes. I think what I received from all these was like my shadow of not feeling loved, like in my, I'm worried about the makeup.
We got Chloe here. You're good.
I could cry, but it's like...
This is the benefit of an in-person podcast episode. Cry away.
But yeah, it was like so many wounds from my maternal thing. And from you, it's kind of like I was projecting the bad part of my mother, but I received the good part that I didn't receive. Sick. Yeah, I didn't receive in my childhood. So it's kind of like... And we would talk about that. Like, is that supposed to be like a mentor relationship? Because
the hierarchy, because we're so trained to think it's like, I'm up here, you're down here. I know everything. You're this. I'm above you. I make more. I earn more. I whatever. Right. And it's like, that's not how it is. It's actually just meant to be a relationship.
Yeah. And what is the limits? Because I really believe, and when you say that is important because it's very, I don't know, like healthy that we can honor our boundaries. And each time you need to be aware, is this boundary getting crossed? Because of course you could be loving because I was respectful to you. I had like in the past clients, what they were not respectful. They were like screaming at me. And it's kind of like, in that way, I will never want a relationship with you because this is like a limit. I have nobody in my family or friends that scream to me. It's not a client that scream to me. But if someone can hold respect, you can also hold love. Like I kind of like hold respect to you. And that allowed you to hold love to me.
Yes.
And that allowed me to be back and to kind of like reborn and really get from this mentorship relationship much more than I could ever imagine. Can you imagine that you're paying for someone to heal your maternal, like, like...
we were supposed to just do branding.
Yeah.
But I think that's why we wanted to bring this conversation to the table because, as a mentor, I think it's always important to check in with yourself and, like when things happen, because this happens, like this wasn't about me doing a bad job. It just was in life, in any relationship, you're going to have these bumps. And so at that point, like, how do you know when to hold your boundaries? How do you know when to hold somebody to it? Is it worth going a legal route? Is it worth pressing, and things like that? And I think it's trusting that every relationship's different and maybe there's not a hard rule, But what's beautiful is on the other side of like being able to trust and surrender is like something really beautiful. And I feel like that's definitely what we had.
Yeah. And we can see also kind of like a karmic, like a learning for both of us. And you say that also like what you learn here and I learn. And it's so amazing because if we wouldn't learn what we learn and keep together, probably in the future you'll have like a client like me or I'll have like a mentor like you. And I
remember saying that. I was like, this is going to happen if we don't clean this up. We've got to clean this up because I don't want this to be on the receiving end of it, you know?
And because there was so this like special spiritual love, I think that kind of like carry us. The spiritual love between our souls carry us to the healing and to this. Oh,
look, I mean, this is amazing. And I think it's Paris and this is beautiful. And of course that's amazing. But I think what's really beautiful is like having this in-person experience and you extending your brand, like you're now extending to a whole nother level. You're creating these incredible interviews and like expanding your impact on this world. And I got to continue to be a part of it.
Yeah, and you're like the godmother. The godmother. Like the godmother of my new brand, like the Banana Society, like from the social societies. Like,
you ready?
Amazing. Yeah.
Okay, so I think this is fun. We're going to pull a card and it's going to be just like a random get to know each other a little better question.
So I make a question for you.
You're going to read it and we're both going to answer it.
Oh my God. It is so fucking
it's
amazing.
Chloe's card.
Okay. If you had a choice between a nomadic or settled life, and the thing is like, you have a choice. What would you choose and why?
Nomadic. 100%. If I didn't have 5 children, I would be a gypsy. Like I am a gypsy.
Really?
100%.
Wow. So for me, that's a fucking amazing question because it's kind of like, what we'll do in my 40s. And that's like something that me and Roberto talks a lot. It's kind of like, we have one part that is very settled. Maybe it's the Taurus. I have like many planets in Earth signs and Taurus. And it's a Taurus. And it's kind of like, I have a part of me like, I really love my home. I don't want to go away from my home. I love my home. I love my swimming pool. We have 2 jacuzzis now. It's like, we are so happy at home. But at the same time, I want to travel the world.
Yeah.
So it's like the thing now, I feel I have a choice, but I'm in the middle of it. So I don't know what I will choose.
I think I've got a solution.
Okay.
We can do bougie nomadic and we'll just have houses all over in these amazing places and they'll be beautiful and they'll feel like home, but we just travel whenever we want.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yes.
I love you. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Thank you for having this conversation.
Yeah. Oh no, I just want to say something more because this is what like magic happens is like, I told Haylee, like, Haylee, you're in United States. I'm not vaccinated. I cannot go to United States, but I will spend my 40th birthday in Paris. Can you come to Paris? I think that will be very bold request, but could you come? And what should you say?
So, I remember that because I had already had this idea of like a special sale or like whatever. It was a promotion or something like for one person to go to Paris. And I was like, there's one person that's going to have a Paris immersion. And I remember you saying like, don't even put that out there. Like it's mine. And I was like, mine. That was yours.
Yeah. So, that was amazing.
Well, thank you.
We co-created that.
We did.
Like, yeah.
And it's been incredible.
Yeah.
I love you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
If you enjoyed this episode, let's move this relationship to the next level. The friend zone, baby. Head to the show notes and click the link to join our close friends list where you will gain access to knowing where we are, all our adventures, and exclusive pop-up offers at locations around the world. Plus, we hold nothing back on our close friend stories on IG. See you there.